You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Art of the Deal writer rocked by WSJ for poorly worded clause that disintegrated pact, based on an article by Tom Bogany. The Strait was never just a clause. The deal was the power play. The Wall Street Journal's account gives away the real story. This is not a language problem dressed up as diplomacy. It is a contest over leverage, and the actors with actual power are the ones deciding who gets to move ships, set terms, and define compliance. Trump's team claimed the clause about restoring shipping unlocked the Strait. Iranian hardliners treated the same clause as an opening to press for exclusive control. That is not misunderstanding in the abstract. That is a fight over who gets to command a chokepoint and turn law into leverage. Misdirection by design. The journal frames the dispute as a consequence of a poorly worded clause. That is the safe, procedural version of events, and it blunts responsibility. Poor drafting may have created room for argument, but it did not create the underlying conflict. The conflict comes from states using ambiguity as an instrument of pressure. When the story centers syntax, it risks disguising strategy as error, Washington's favorite illusion. The U.S. side appears to have treated the memorandum as proof of success. The article says Trump administration officials saw paragraph 5 as the key accomplishment of the deal. That is classic executive self-congratulation. Declare victory, then discover the other side read the same text as a bargaining chip. If Washington expected economic logic alone to govern Tehran's behavior, it was not being clever. It was projecting its own assumptions onto a security contest. Tehran is not confused. Michael Horowitz is quoted making the central point more plainly than the diplomats did. Iran's behavior is about security concerns and bargaining leverage, not just money. That matters because it strips away the comforting fiction that better incentives automatically produce good faith restraint. The Iranian hardliners are not stumbling into maximalism. They are using the clause to press advantage. The journal's language about interpretation softens what is really a deliberate contest for control. Oman is the smaller party. The article notes that Tehran has repeatedly said it will work out future arrangements with Oman, the weaker neighbor across the waterway. That detail matters because it shows how power moves downward. The stronger state and the larger military actor frame negotiations with the smaller one as if mutual administration were an administrative matter. It is not. It is coercion with paperwork. The small state becomes a procedural prop in a larger struggle over regional control. The pattern beneath the Strait. This story is bigger than one memorandum and bigger than one waterway. It shows how great powers and regional hardliners alike use ambiguity to create deniability while preserving force. It also shows how elite coverage tends to flatten that reality into a drafting dispute, as if the problem were careless prose rather than deliberate brinkmanship. The real lesson is simpler and uglier. When institutions are built around leverage, not legitimacy, interpretation becomes just another word for domination. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article. With the automated voice of Lesak, thanks for listening.